For months, my existence had shrunk into a relentless cycle of pleading. Pleading for my wife's attention, her respect, even a fleeting moment of her time. Each day I tiptoed around her moods, desperate for acknowledgement, yearning for a smile, yet constantly falling short. Nothing I did seemed enough. If I stayed late at work, I was accused of ignoring her. If I came home early, I was told I lacked ambition. I tried everything. Cooking her favorite meals, leaving small surprises, planning special nights out. But every effort slid off her as if it were meaningless. Gradually, I stopped recognizing the man staring back at me in the mirror. The confident, grounded version of myself had been replaced by someone hollow, drained of energy and self-worth. Every argument ended with me apologizing just to restore peace. Even when I wasn't at fault, I believed that was love, sacrificing my needs so hers could be met. But in truth, I had become little more than a shadow revolving around her life. Then this morning, something inside me snapped. She asked me to iron her clothes before work. Normally, I would have jumped at the chance, hoping for a hint of gratitude, but this time, I stayed seated. I sipped my tea, scrolled through my phone, and said nothing. She repeated the request sharply. I nodded but didn't move. The shock on her face was almost absurd. She wasn't ready for this version of me, the man who no longer scrambled to please while she slammed doors in anger. I remained calm, unmoved. Later, she asked me to run an errand for her mother. I replied evenly, "I'm busy today. You can handle it." Confusion, irritation, even a flicker of fear appeared in her eyes. She was beginning to understand that I was no longer at her beck and call. Throughout the day, she tested me with small tasks: fetch water, fix a charger, call the plumber. Each time I refused quietly, without resentment, without raising my voice. That silent defiance carried more weight than any shouting match we had ever endured. By evening, the energy in the house had shifted. She paced, stealing anxious glances at me as if trying to comprehend the man I had become. Finally, she broke. "What's wrong with you today?" she demanded. For the first time, I didn't explain. I held her gaze and said, "I'm tired of being the only one trying in this marriage." She opened her mouth to respond, but no words came. She was used to my desperation, my apologies, my attempts to smooth over her indifference, but tonight I gave her nothing. When dinner arrived, she asked if I would cook. I said I had already eaten out. Her face faltered. For years, I had ensured there was always a hot meal ready. But that night she cooked alone, slamming pots and pans like weapons, though her nervous movements betrayed her unease. Later in bed, she spoke quietly for the first time that day. "You've been distant. Are you upset with me?" I turned to her calmly. "I'm not upset. I'm done begging. Done living like I'm the only one holding this marriage together." She stared at me as if I were a stranger. She tried to deny it, claiming I was exaggerating, that she never demanded me to beg. But I reminded her of the countless times she dismissed me, belittled my efforts, treated me as if nothing I did mattered. And in her eyes, I saw that she couldn't argue with the truth. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't plead. I simply laid my reality bare and let the silence speak. In that quiet, she finally understood the possibility of losing me. That night, I felt lighter than I had in years. Not because anything had changed yet, but because I had reclaimed a piece of myself I thought was gone forever. The next morning, I left the house without much to say. I ignored her calls throughout the day. When I returned in the evening, I placed an envelope on the table in front of her. Inside were separation papers. Her hands trembled as she read. Shock crossed her face, followed by fear. She tried to plead, argue, beg me to reconsider, but I stayed silent. The man who once begged for her love no longer existed. I packed slowly as she watched, powerless. "You'll regret this," she whispered bitterly. I smiled faintly. No, the only regret was staying this long. When I walked out the door, the air felt clear. For the first time in years, I wasn't chasing scraps of affection. I wasn't begging.